have a large copper kettle, and we start with corn syrup, quite a bit of that, and of course add butter and some heavy cream and some sugar and a few other various ingredients and a little bit of salt. And then we take that into the cooking room. We eventually put it up onto the cookers. Then it has to cook to a certain degree. I have a lifter. I lift it off the cooker and I wheel it into the other room, and we have tables there, stainless steel tables that I have cleaned and greased and ready for the candy to be poured onto them, and they have about an inch lip on them. So I pour the candy onto that table, and then it sets out. It has to, we'll probably do 7 or 8 batches in a day. Today we're going to do 8. So each batch is about 80 pounds, so that's going to be about 640 pounds today.
We run each strip through a little sizer, which actually flattens the height of the candy as it was poured, so it's a uniform height now. And then it goes in either of 2 places. If it's going to be a wrapped caramel, then we put it through a machine that will wrap it, and that's a very complex machine. It's the most complex machine in the house. It's so complex we call it the machine, even though there's obviously a lot of other machines. At that point, there are sisters standing on either or sitting on either side of that table, and they remove the candy from that as it's coming along. This is actually happening much faster than it sounds. The machine is going about ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. And at each one of those, a new caramel is being pushed out and starting through that vertical wheel. Usually we're removing it in groups. We're not taking the candy off the table one by one, or we'd never keep up with it. It's about 180 caramels per minute. So we have to we take them off in bunches and put them in the finished boxes. Well, we use a machine that's technically called an enrober, and we call it coating. What happens is the raw caramels are put through on a belt, and then they pass under a veil of chocolate that comes down, and that chocolate covers them very heavily. So there's too much chocolate, so that if it's defective, it's completely covered. And then the caramels pass through over another belt that's called a shaker. And the shaker shakes off excess chocolate. And from there, then the caramels go on to a flat belt that's going to go through the cooling tunnel. And before they get to the cooling tunnel, somebody makes a little, by hand, we make what we call a squiggle. It's a little diagonal mark across the caramel. We've been told, I don't know how accurate this is, we've been told that that indicates that what's inside is caramel, the diagonal line. So then the caramel passes through the cooling tunnel. That takes about 7 minutes. And when it comes out, as long as the chocolate tempering is right, the caramel is cooled and dry, and someone sits there and takes the caramels off that track and puts them in the finished boxes. And there we go.